guys, we are back with another song by Eminem. And which one are we doing today?
Today we are doing Deja Vu.
Okay. I know this song pretty well. I know the words to it.
Yes, it's a great song.
Yeah, it's really good.
So before that, there's a skit called Mr. Mathers, which is directly related to the song. So we will do Mr. Mathers.
Got my lip gloss.
Yeah, so we'll do the Mr. Mathers skit, and then we'll go right into Deja Vu. So yeah, like you said, you know this, so there's no surprises.
Yeah, no, of course
This
not.
is
I
a
love this song.
brilliant song, in my opinion.
Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media channels. Links in the description below. And our username is right here for like TikTok and all that stuff. I always say this, but I'm gonna post more. I'm just waiting for you guys to actually follow us.
Maybe if we posted stuff, they'd follow.
Okay. I work full time. I'm trying.
Yeah, she does it all. I don't do anything. All right. Mr. Mathers skit.
Mr. Mathers. Mr. Mathers, can you hear my voice? Okay, he's not responding. I'm gonna need an 18 gauge, left AC, right away.
BP is 90 over palp, respiration's at 8. Okay, I'm tubing.
DMC, this is Medic 41.
Medic 41, this is DMC base. MIC and Betty, go ahead.
He's cold. Spike a bag and grab the backboard.
Okay, got it. On 3. 1, 2.
So, like, that's really interesting. He must have done a lot of research or talked to someone because those are actually, like, things that actual medics would say.
Well, so what I'm wondering is this is based off the true story. He overdosed in his house and was not too far away from dying. I think he said an hour or two because his organs were shutting down.
Well, his respiration was it
8. I know. That's
which
wild.
is like a normal respiration is like, I think like 15
Something like that.
15 to a little more than that.
Yeah.
And then his, what was BPM speeds?
They said 90 over palp, which they were, I guess they were doing it like that.
Yeah. So to have a really high heart rate and to have a really low respiration rate, it's not good. Like, it's really not good.
So, yeah, so what I'm wondering is if, so the way I interpret the skit is he's passed out on the
He was
floor.
getting no oxygen.
No, so what I'm saying is though, like the skit, like, you know how the audio was distorted is Mr. Mathers. So like we're
Yeah.
listening to it from the context of him being overdosed on the floor, which is why it like sounds distorted at times.
Mhm.
And then he apparently he can't respond. Now I don't know if you
Yeah.
recall at the beginning of Deja Vu, there's a little bit more. It picks up with the paramedics, and there's more, medical jargon.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if it's the actual, like if those were the actual numbers. Do you know what I mean? Like when he
Yeah.
overdosed.
Sounds like he really did a lot of research into this because they're using like actual medical terms. Like, it's not someone just saying like, "Oh, he's not breathing." You know
No,
what I'm saying?
I agree, and it's definitely 100% like accurate. But what I'm wondering is
Yeah.
if the numbers that we hear in the song are the
Oh, if they're
same
the
numbers
same.
from when he actually overdosed. You
He
know
would
what I
just
mean?
need his discharge papers and it should say on there.
Yeah. All right. So pick up with Deja Vu.
DMC, we have a mid-30s male found down, unresponsive, possible overdose, substance unknown, pulse is 60 and thready, respiration's 8, he's intubated and we're bagging him now. BP 90 over palp, patient is cool, pale and diaphoretic, has aspirated, GSC is 3, we'll update en route, ETA 10 minutes.
As I fall deeper into a manic state, I'm a prime candidate for the gene to receive the drug addict trait. Blood pressure climbs at a dramatic rate. I seem to gravitate to the bottle of NyQuil, then I salivate. Start off with the NyQuil, like I think I'll just have a taste. Couple of sips of that, then I gradually graduate to a harder prescription drug called Valium, like yeah, that's great. I go to just take one and I end up like having 8. Now I need something in my stomach cause I haven't ate. Maybe I'll grab a plate of nachos and I'll have a steak. And you think that with all I have at stake, look at my daughter's face. Mommy, something is wrong with dad, I think. He's acting weird again, he's really really beginning to scare me. Won't shave his beard again, and he pretends he doesn't hear me. And all he does is eat Doritos and Cheetos, and he just fell asleep in his car eating 3 Musketeers in the rear seat.
Sometimes I feel so alone, I just don't know. Feels like I've been down this road before. So lonely and cold, it's like something takes over me as soon as I go home and close the door. Kinda feels like deja vu. I wanna get away from this place I do, but I can't and I won't. Say I try, but I know that's a lie, cause I don't. And why I just don't know. Maybe just
So
Yeah, I fucked up. So they're saying his pulse is 60, but his BP is 90 over palp. I've never heard that said before.
okay,
But pulse being 60 and thready means that it's like not coming in
weak.
at a steady, yeah, like you can't really feel it.
Yeah, so I have
So that's a really low pulse. Most people, well,
so I have
if you're like a runner and you're in really, really great shape, your pulse could be 60 and you're fine.
so I have Genius open because, we do this every time. The lyric videos are usually wrong. So
Yeah,
there are some annotations on these medical things
yeah,
that I recalled. I just clicked one now. So it's saying pulse reverse to how many times the heart beats per minute. In this case,
yeah.
the pulse is at 60 beats per minute, which is normal rate for a resting adult heart, but thready, which indicates a low beating strength, which leads to low blood
So
pressure.
it's hard to feel. But
Yes.
then again, 60 is like if someone is out of shape and doesn't work out much and is like, maybe doing drugs, their pulse normally could probably be at like 70 or a little higher. Like I don't really work out and my pulse is not 60. It's usually around like 70, 80 normally at
So
rest.
so this is interesting. Apparently there is a slight fuck up here. So, all right, I'll go through the lyric.
Yeah, go from the beginning.
So it starts off continuing off the skit, and it's the paramedic speaking. And it says DMC. We have a mid-30s male found down unresponsive. So DMC is at the Detroit Medical Center.
Yeah.
He says possible overdose, substance unknown, pulse is 60 and thready, respirations 8. He's intubated,
Okay,
and
so
we're
they
bagging
intubated
and we're
him.
bagging him now.
Okay, so they put the, I forget the exact right term, so they put the breathing apparatus in his mouth and they have the squeeze bag there. And they are, no, when I say they're bagging him now, they're squeezing the bag, they're helping him breathe.
Yes. To provide breath to the patient. Yeah.
Blood pressure 90 over palp. So palp would be palpitation, but 90 over, like usually you do like 120 over 80, like high blood pressure is like 140 over 90.
I don't know if you want to read that.
They took his blood pressure by palpatory method, which involves manually counting out the blood pressure using a cuff. The result is written over palp, for example, 90 over P. This is a dangerously low number here. I've never done,
I'm guessing. Oh, wait. So that means his top number is 90.
yeah,
Yeah.
because a bottom
Over
number
palp.
of 90 would be high.
Well, yeah, kind of. They say 130 over 90 maybe now
That's
instead
so
of
funny
120.
because remember like
You're
a
like
month ago,
97.
yeah, my blood pressure would be like 90 over
It
70.
was like 97,
And I'd be
but
like,
still.
I'm like dying. Like there was like a long period of time where that was happening. And I guess I was totally fine though. I don't
Yeah. So, okay. So this is get the interesting part. So it says, it's so funny. We're talking so much about this medical part. We're not even into the song yet.
in the medical field, so I like it.
So, BP is 90 over palp. Patient is cool,
Hold
pale,
on,
and diaphoretic,
diaphoretic is diaphoresis. Why am I blanking on what that means? I know what that means.
sweaty.
Yes.
Okay. So he's aspirated, which means the
So
fluids in his lungs.
yeah. But they're saying has aspirated, or are they saying he? So are they
Oh, it does
aspirating
say
him, or
has
is he
aspirated.
aspirating? Have they removed the fluid from his lungs, or are they saying that?
No, they're saying he aspirated. He vomited and
Okay, so
inhaled it. He
yeah.
threw up and then inhaled it into his lungs.
Okay.
Okay, so this is where they fucked up. So it says GSC is 3. Will update and route ETA 10 minutes.
For comas.
So this is interesting on Lyrics Genius. So again, they're hit and miss. On this, they seem to be very good. It says there an error in this line. The speaker should say GCS, not GSC.
Yeah.
So it
The
says,
Glasgow Coma Scale.
yeah, the Glasgow Coma Scale, which is a basic neurological rating of consciousness. 3 is the worst. The scale goes up to an aggregate of 15 and rates eye, verbal, motor response at 1 to 4, 5, or 6 scale, respectively. 3 means that he got a 1 in each category, which is unresponsive across the board, so he was out cold.
Which is so weird because he technically can hear them.
But they don't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, because he's not responding to
So
anything at all.
his eyes. So the 3 categories are eye opening response, and then the 4 is spontaneously, and then 3 is to speech, 2 is to pain, 1 is no response, and then best verbal response. 5 is oriented to time, place, and person. 4 is confused. 3 is inappropriate words, which I don't know what that
Like if someone
means.
was like, "What day is it?" and you're like, "Thursday," but it's Monday.
It's
They're like,
television.
"No."
Today is television.
Yeah.
2 is incomprehensible sounds. 3 is no response. So again, no response Eminem had. And then the last one is best motor response. 6 points, obeys commands. 5 is moves to localize pain. 4 is flexion withdrawal from pain.
So like if I took you
Pinch me,
away,
yeah.
yeah.
3 is abnormal flexion. Decorative.
So
Decorative. Decorative.
decerebrate.
I don't know what that. There's a T.
Decerebrate. Abnormal
No,
extension.
the one above it.
Oh, decorticate.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is.
So that would be like if I pinched here and you didn't feel it, I guess, and you did something that wasn't normal. I can't really think of what that could be.
Yeah.
Maybe if you like moved your other hand as if it was that hand.
Yeah, and then 2 is abnormal extension, decerebrate, and then 1 is no response. So the best score you can get on that is 15, and then it says comatose client is 8 or less. So you just have to be at 8 or less to be comatose, and then 3, which is what they're saying Eminem was, is totally unresponsive, which is the worst possible,
Yeah.
obviously. A dead person would be totally unresponsive. They would get the same score as he got here.
Yeah.
So he starts off his first verse. As I fall deeper into a manic state, I'm a prime candidate for the gene to receive the drug addict trait.
Same.
Yeah, us too. So obviously we relate so much to the song.
Our children are gonna be fucked.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I hate to be that guy, like, oh, you had to be there, but like, I do feel like if you're an addict, you connect with this song way more than it's possible for a non-addict to relate. Do you know what I mean? Specifically the
Yeah.
chorus. But I think anybody can appreciate it. But
Also, you can appreciate it, especially if you've ever woken up in the hospital.
yeah. So obviously he says he's falling in deeper into a manic state, which is interesting. So I don't know if he's alluding to like a drug-induced mania or if he's saying he just has like mania, like bipolar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he says, I'm the prime candidate for the gene to receive the drug addict trait. So, talking about addiction being inherited genetically, which we know that his mom was. Not sure about his dad, but I don't know if he even knows about his dad.
Probably not.
Then he said, yeah. He says, blood pressure climbs at a dramatic rate. I seem to gravitate to the bottle of NyQuil, then I salivate. So that's crazy. So when he says the blood pressure climbs at a dramatic rate, I guess he's getting excited. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
About possibly
The NyQuil.
using. Yeah. So he goes to the NyQuil and he salivates, drooling because he's excited. Start off with the NyQuil, like, I think I'll just have a taste. Couple of sips of that, then I gradually graduate. Nice alliteration there.
Mm-hmm.
So, as any addict knows, you just start with a little, or you start with one thing and then you progress.
Yeah, of course.
Then I gradually graduate.
Which is so funny because everyone's always trying to say like weed isn't a gateway drug, and it's like weed was actually not the first drug I ever tried.
It's funny.
My first drug was pills.
I guess it could be a gateway drug if you're an addict. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it still shouldn't
I
be.
never really liked weed.
It still should be legal.
I liked everything else though.
All right. Then I gradually graduate to a harder prescription drug called Valium. Like, yeah, that's great. I go to take just one and I end up like having 8. Now I need something in my stomach because I haven't ate.
I never liked Valium.
Yeah. So
It's in Xanax.
again, starts with the NyQuil. Then it's like, oh, I'm just gonna have a little bit.
He
And
just drinks the
then
whole bottle.
yeah, and then he starts taking Valium, and then he's like, I'm gonna just take one, and then he ends up having 8. Which anybody that's taken any sort of benzos in particular, it's very easy to forget that you took them.
Yeah, especially if you've already taken a full stick.
Yeah. And then he ends up having 8. Now I need something in my stomach because I have an 8, which benzos in particular will do that to you.
Yeah.
It'll make you hungry.
I remember, wow, we sound like actual psychopaths, but like, whatever. I remember whenever I would take Xanax, anything that was like sweet and sour would taste amazing.
Yeah.
Like, we go to 7-Eleven, if you guys know what that is, it's like a convenience store, and we would get Slurpees, and they just tasted insane.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And you would also wake up the next morning not remembering anything, but you would have a bunch of random stuff in your pockets
yeah,
every time.
it's funny. So then he says, maybe I'll grab a plate of nachos and I'll have a steak. And you'd think, with all I have at stake, look at my daughter's face. And then he quotes his daughter, Mommy, something is wrong with Dad, I think. He's acting weird again. He's really beginning to scare me. Won't shave his beard again, and he pretends he doesn't hear me. And all he does is eat Doritos and Cheetos, and he just fell asleep in his car eating Three Musketeers in the rear seat. So I'm wondering if this is an actual story. It sounds like it, honestly. But so
Or maybe something that he just remembers or things that he would do kind of grouped into one.
yeah. So he says, he's like, oh, he finally gets high and then he's hungry because a lot of times until you get your fix, you can't even think about food or eating. So he's like, oh, now I'm going to have nachos and steak because I'm high. And then he says, and you think with all I have at stake, meaning his career, his family, that he wouldn't be doing this, but like a good addict, none of that matters. And then Haley, I'm assuming, I guess it could be one of his other daughters, but is talking to the mother saying like something's wrong with him. He's acting weird. He's starting to scare me. Won't shave his beard again, which is a big tip off.
Yeah.
You don't have the desire to groom yourself. So his
No.
beard's growing out. Although now he actually has a beard, which is funny. And then he says, and he pretends he doesn't hear me. So, which that's interesting. He's like avoiding, his daughter. And then he said, and all he does is eat Doritos and Cheetos.
Garbage.
And he just fell asleep in his car eating Three Musketeers in the rear seat, which is
So-
funny. He's in the back seat.
What? So this is funny because I just thought about this and there's nothing in here to tell me. So what time of day, when you imagine this in your head, what time of day is it?
So like the Doritos and Cheetos and the Three Musketeers part, I guess nighttime.
I imagine it as nighttime too.
It really
Only
could
because
be.
I'm an addict. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is happening at night because that's the only time I was ever able to eat anything.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. So yeah, I love the fact that he fell asleep in the back seat of the car,
He
which
was probably
is
looking for more
such an
drugs
interesting
or
detail.
money or anything.
Yes. And then we get into the chorus, which is brilliant. It's like some of his best writing, and it's such a simple chorus. It says, sometimes I feel so alone, I just don't know. Feels like I've been down this road before. So lonely and cold, it's like something takes over me soon as I go home and close the door. Kind of feels like deja vu. I want to get away from this place, I do, but I can't and I won't say I tried, but I know that's a lie because I don't. And why? I just don't know. So it's fucking like it like pulls at my heartstrings because I know what it's like to be in that state of mind,
Yeah.
and you're baffled yourself. You know what I mean? Like you recognize it. So quickly, and Jesus, we're already 20 minutes in and we didn't even do one verse yet. So he says, sometimes I feel so alone, I just don't know. It feels like I've been down this road before. So I recall too, like in active addiction, feeling completely alone and isolated, even if you're using with other people and you're
Because
not,
you don't trust anybody.
yeah, and you're isolated and you're consumed with like your next fix. So you really do feel alone.
I used to like being alone though.
Yeah. And then he says, I feel like I've been down this road before, meaning he's experienced this and he's thought these thoughts and he's had these feelings before. And he says, so lonely and cold, it's like something takes over me as soon as I go home and close the door, which is insane because I relate to that too. There would be times where like I'd be trying to get my shit together and like maybe I'd make it to work, or I was even in college when my shit started and I'd go to
Yeah.
school and I would make it through school and the whole
Yeah.
day without using. And then I'd come home and I didn't have whatever to distract me, and that obsession would hit me. I'd go home and I'd be like, fuck, like I need to use. You know what I mean? That's why this writing is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I relate to it. When I was using, obviously there was nothing I could do to stop. But then those random times when I would like go back to using after like not using for a while, it just came out of nowhere. It wasn't really a thought. I was like, I should just go do that again.
Yeah.
And I would just do it again like a psycho.
Yeah, no, of course. So then he's, as soon as I go home and close the door, it kind of feels like deja vu, which deja vu, I'm sure you're all familiar with, but it's that thing you experience when you,
Been here before, you've seen this happen before.
for me, it's always, oh my God, I had a dream about this recently, and now I'm living this exact experience that I just dreamed about. It's a weird, I'm sure you guys know what it is. I wonder if there's anybody that's never experienced deja vu.
Maybe. I've never had it where it was a dream though. I've just been like, I've been here before.
Oh, for me, it's always that's always how I associate it is. Holy shit, I'm reliving something I already lived before. It must have been a dream, you know?
I never think of it as a
I
dream
always do. That's interesting.
because I remember almost all my dreams.
Yeah.
So,
You know why I think of it as a dream? My first interaction with somebody, I was in third grade. There was a kid in my class and he was describing deja vu. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't know anybody else ever experienced that. But he's like, I had a dream and then I just experienced it just now. He's like, I'm reliving. He's like, I'm saying the exact things I was saying in my dream. So I think that's probably why in my head I associate it as a dream. Mhm. All right. So kind of feels like deja vu. I want to get away from this place. I do, but I can't. So we can't get away from the place. And I won't say I tried, but I know that's a lie because I don't. And why, I just don't know. So he
it's
went.
basically he doesn't want to stop, but he wants to stop, but he doesn't want to stop, and he can't really tell you why. That's pretty much exactly what it's like to be
An
an
addict.
addict.
Yeah, he wants to get out of this addiction, but he can't get out of it.
No.
And he's not going to say that he tried to get out of it because he'd be lying because he doesn't try to get out of it. And then he says, and why? I just don't know. So he wants to stop, but he doesn't.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. It's like, it really is. It's
It's
like the description of it is so perfect. All
it's
right,
hard.
let's keep moving because this
He's
is,
sober while he wrote this.
yeah, this is an insanely long video. It's going to be. Here we go.
And why I just don't know.
Maybe just a nice cold brew. What's a beer? That's a devil in my ear. I've been sober a fucking year, and that fucker still talks to me. He's all I can fucking hear. Well, so come on, we'll watch the game. It's the Cowboys and Buccaneers. And maybe if I just drink half, I'll be half buzzed for half of the time. Who's the mastermind behind that little line? With that kind of rationale, man, I got half a mind to have another half a glass of wine. Sounds asinine, yeah, I know, but I never had no problem with alcohol. Ouch, look out for the wall, aim for the couch, I'm about to fall. I miss the couch and down, I go looking like a bouncing ball. Shit must have knocked me out, cause I ain't feel the ground at all. Wow, what the fuck happened last night? Where am I? Man, fuck am I hungover and goddamn I got a headache. Should have a Vicodin? Why can't I? All systems ready for takeoff, please stand by.
Sometimes I feel so alone, I just don't know. Feels like I've been down this road before. So lonely and cold, it's like something takes over me as soon as I go home and close the door. Kinda feels like deja vu. I wanna get away from this place I do, but I can't and I won't. Say I try, but I know that's a lie, cause I don't. And why I just don't know.
It's weird.
He just left us hanging on the lyrics
I
there.
know, it was
But I
the
mean, they've
chorus.
already shown it to us, so whatever.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, that's strange. Okay, verse
Somebody
2.
sang it for you.
Yes. So he starts off the second verse. Maybe just a nice cold brew. What's a beer?
That's
That's
how it always starts.
Yep. And then he says, that's the devil in my ear. I've been sober a fucking year. And that fucker still talks to me. He's all I can fucking hear. And then you hear the devil, his addiction, say, Marshall, come on, we'll watch the game. It's the Cowboys and Buccaneers. And then so yeah. So he's like, so me personally, I relate to this because alcohol was never my big thing. You know what I mean? I was into drugs, but like I don't know, I'd say at least half the time where there was a period of time where I got clean and I ultimately relapsed again, it was this, oh, I'm gonna drink like a normal person, even though I don't like
Yeah.
alcohol particularly. And
I
then,
always relapse on alcohol. It's the easiest way to trick yourself into thinking it's
well,
okay.
yeah, because
Your
it's,
brain just tricks you like, oh, it's just alcohol.
well,
You don't even like it.
yeah, it's legal. Everybody
So
does
let's
it.
do it.
Yeah, which he gets into later in the verse, which is perfect. It's interesting. But so he says, yeah, that's the devil in my ear. Been sober a fucking year, and that fucker still talks to me. He's all I can fucking hear. So his addiction, even though he's been removed from it for a whole year, it's still in his mind, trying to get him, saying, "Come on, we'll watch the game. It's the Cowboys and Buccaneers," meaning like it would be fun to have a beer and watch the football game. And then Eminem goes, "And maybe if I just drink half, I'll be half buzzed for half of the time," which is actually true, but you're an addict, so
Yeah, so that's not gonna
it doesn't work
happen.
that way. You're not just gonna stop there. And then he says, "Who's
But
the
it's
man?"
just trying to schedule it, trying to regulate it. It's just all addict thinking.
Yeah. Who's the mastermind behind that little line? With that kind of rationale, man, I got half a mind to have another half a glass of wine. Sounds asinine, yeah, I know, but I never had no problem with alcohol. So that's the key line there.
Mm.
Because that was always me too. I never had a problem with alcohol. Of course I can drink it, you know? So
I
yeah.
had a problem with alcohol, but I never had actual withdrawal from alcohol.
So I mean, when I would drink alcoholically, but
Yeah, me too.
it
That's the
wasn't it
problem.
wasn't by preference, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even if I didn't, I would just be like, "Oh, I'm fucking drunk now. Let's go get some fucking drugs." You know what I mean?
Mm.
So, yeah, the logic for his normal person is true. If you drink half the amount, you'll be buzzed for half the time. But, you can't. One's too many and 1,000 is never enough, as they say in the rooms. He says, "Who's the mastermind behind that little line? With that kind of rationale, man, I got half a mind to have another half a glass of wine." So I love how he carried the, if I drink half, I'll be half buzzed for half the time. And then he goes, "I got half a mind to have another half a glass of wine."
He's just having the whole glass in the first place.
So he half beer and then half wine. So that's
Yeah.
how it's moving. And he's like half a mind, so half of his mind. But that's also the saying, I have half a mind to do something. Then he says, "But I never had no problem with alcohol." So that's the justification in his mind. But
Although
then
he probably did. He
literally
just
the
didn't think he
well,
did.
no, literally the very next line is, "Ouch, look out for the wall, aim for the couch, I'm about to fall." So he never had a problem with alcohol, but now he's fucking wasted and he's falling.
Yeah.
Then he says, "I missed the couch and down I go, looking like a bouncing ball. Shit must have knocked me out because I ain't feel the ground at all." This says didn't, but I believe he says, "I ain't feel the ground at all. Wow, what the fuck happened last night? Where am I? Man, fuck am I hungover? And goddamn I got a headache. Shit, half a Vicodin? Why can't I? All systems ready for takeoff. Please stand by."
It's
So
like he's high now. He's gonna be high. Have a Vicodin though. That wouldn't even do anything to me.
if you're sober, so
True.
he he's sober, and then in this story, in this verse, he decides to drink half a beer, and then his mind's like, "Oh, I'll have half a glass of wine."
But like he
And
obviously ended up drinking a shit ton.
so he does. He ends up getting shit faced, and he falls and he hurts himself, right? And then he wakes up the next morning and he's hungover and he has a headache. And he's like, "Oh, half a Vicodin. Why can't I?" Like, you don't need Vicodin for a headache. But
No.
that's how his mind works. And then the all systems ready for takeoff. Please stand by. It's off to the races. Like,
Yeah, he's
that's it.
gone.
That's it.
It's
We're
over.
going. No stopping us now. All right. And then the chorus again. And then third verse. Let's go.
Say I try, but I know that's a lie, cause I don't, and why I just
So I
don't
take a
know.
liking and splash, it hits my stomach, then couple of weeks go by, it ain't even like I'm getting high. Now I need it just not to feel sick, yeah I'm getting by. Wouldn't even be taking this shit if the Sean didn't die. Oh yeah, there's an excuse, you lose, proof, so you use. There's new rules, it's cool if it's helping you to get through. It's 12 noon, ain't no harm in self-inducing a snooze. What else is new? Fuck it, what would Elvis do in your shoes? Now here I am 3 months later, full-blown relapse. Just get high until the kids get home from school, homes relax. And since I'm convinced that I'm an insomniac, I need these pills to be able to sleep, so I take 3 naps just to be able to function throughout the day. Let's see, that's an Ambien each nap. How many value? 3, and that will average out to about 1 good hour's sleep. Okay, so now you see the reason how come he has taken 4 years to just put out an album. Beat, see me and you, we almost had the same outcome. Cause that Christmas, you know the whole pneumonia thing, it was Bologna. Was it the methadone you think? Or the hydrocodone you hide inside your pornos, your VCR tape cases, which your ambience. See all great places to hide them, ain't it? So you can lie to Haley. I'm going Betty by Whitney, baby. Good night, Elena. Go in the room and shut the bedroom door and wake up in an ambulance. They said they found me on the bathroom floor. Damn.
Sometimes I feel so alone, I just don't know. Feels like I've been down this road before. So lonely and cold, it's like something takes over me soon as I go home and close the door. Kinda feels like deja vu. I wanna get away from this place I do, but I can't and I won't. Say I try, but I know that's a lie, cause I don't. And why I just don't know.
Okay. I just wanted to see if it sounds like a Dr. Dre beat. I'm assuming it is. I just wanted, yeah, it is produced by Dr. Dre by himself, nobody else listed. Especially at the end there, it sounded like the drums.
Yeah.
It sounded like a lot like it. All right, so we end the second verse where he decides half a Vicodin, and then he's like, "Oh, all systems ready for takeoff. Please stand by."
So I was taking another full Vicodin. But then I
Or
always
this
got
might be the same Vicodin.
confused.
This might be the half a Vicodin that we're picking up at.
So splash is the sound of it hitting his stomach,
Yeah.
right? Because I was like, what's a Vicodin splash?
Yeah. So he starts the third verse. So I take a Vicodin, splash, it hits my stomach, and ah. So the relief of the drug that makes him feel good. Then he goes right away. A couple weeks go by. It ain't even like I'm getting high. Now I need it just to not feel sick. Yeah, I'm getting by.
That's the worst.
So it's, I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah.
You don't get high anymore. You need it to not feel
Yeah,
sick.
you're just trying not to feel like you're dying.
And then he says, yeah, I'm getting by. And that's all you're doing. You're not living. You're not getting high. You're
Yeah.
literally just getting by from one day to the next. It's
Real quick, people compare it to the flu, but it's not like any sick feeling you've ever known if you've never experienced it. There's nothing to compare it to.
so the symptoms are flu-like. You don't have that mental part though with the flu. You know what I mean?
Tired, restless legs,
Yeah.
inability to.
I mean, I've gotten it when I was younger.
I don't know. I've gotten it so bad. It's never been like anything I've ever felt.
It is, yeah, it is. It's very unique.
I'd rather have a kidney stone. I've had one of those. Those are nothing
Yeah.
compared to that.
Yeah. So now I need it just to not feel sick. Yeah, I'm getting by. Wouldn't even be taking this shit if Deshaun didn't die. Oh yeah, there's an excuse. You use proof, so you use. There's new rules. It's cool if it's helping you to get through. So, proof, obviously, his best friend, shot and killed. And he said, I wouldn't even be doing this if he didn't die. And then he's saying, oh, you're giving yourself an excuse. You use because you lost your friend and you're sad. And then he continues by saying, there's new rules. So he's established that he's an addict, but now there's new rules. It's cool if it's helping you to get through. So, oh, it's helping me cope. It's helping me deal with his death. So now it's okay. And then he says, it's 12 noon. Ain't no harm in self-inducing a snooze. It says, what else is new? Meaning, this is common. Fuck it. What would Elvis do in your shoes?
Same thing.
Which is such an interesting line for, well, multiple reasons. We just discussed a few songs ago about how his whole career, there's parallels between him and Elvis because he's a white artist in a predominantly black industry. But obviously, Elvis died from drugs, drug related,
Yeah.
and he was a superstar and he would take pills and shit.
And he was full of poop.
Yeah, and he
Like
ultimately
literally
died.
full of poop. Had like 50 pounds of fecal matter in his intestines.
Yeah. So, fuck it. What would Elvis do in your shoes? Then he says, now here I am, 3 months later, full blown relapse. And then his mind talking to himself, just get high until the kids get home from school homes, relax.
It's not a bad idea.
And then he said, and since I'm convinced that I'm an insomniac, I need these pills to be able to sleep. So I take 3 naps. So it's funny. I wonder if he's just taking the naps just so he could take the drug. I mean, obviously he's checking out of life. So the napping is almost filling the same need that the drugs themselves are. You know what I mean? He's just escaping from being awake. But he says, since I'm convinced I'm an insomniac, I need these pills to be able to sleep, so I take 3 naps.
So, me being an actual insomniac, I think that he's taking the pills and then he's taking a nap, taking the pills, taking the nap, taking the pills, taking a nap, and that's his sleep.
Well, yeah, so he gets into it here. He
Yeah.
says, just to be able to function throughout the day, let's see. That's an Ambien each nap. How many Valium? 3. And that will average out to about 1 good hour's sleep. So, which is true when you're using, you're not really getting restful sleep.
Yeah.
Your body's fucked up. It knows you're on drugs. You'll usually just pass out
Ugh.
and not get restful sleep. And then he says, okay, now you see the reason how come he has taken 4 years just to put out an album, B. See, me and you, we almost had the same outcome.
Ledger.
Heath Ledger died of an overdose, played the Joker.
Yeah.
Because that Christmas, the whole pneumonia thing, it was bologna, he says bologna to make it rhyme. Was it the methadone, you think? So this is true. Eminem, I don't know if this might have been for his, I don't know if it was the actual, no, I don't think it was the overdose. Maybe it was. I don't know if this is a separate incident than the overdose that we heard in the skit, but he was hospitalized and um his public relations, his PR team released a thing saying, "Oh, he was in the hospital getting treated for pneumonia and he's home now." And he actually did have pneumonia, like he was that fucked up, but
But
it
mainly
was
because of
yeah, I
the
think yeah, I
overdose.
think he said one of his organs, his liver or kidney, something was shutting down.
Mm.
And so it was really the methadone. And he says, or the hydrocodone. He says cordone to make it rhyme. Like there's no R in hydrocodone. But
Yeah.
he says the hydrocodone you hide inside your pornos, your VCR tape cases with your Ambien CR, great places to hide, ain't it? So he's saying he had his Vicodin, which is the hydrocodone, in his porno and VCR tape cases with his Ambien.
Mm.
But he says, great places to hide it, ain't it? So you can lie to Haley. I'm going Betty by Whitney, baby. Good night, Elena. So those are his 3 daughters. Then he finishes off the verse by saying, go in the room and shut the bedroom door and wake up in an ambulance. They said they found me on the bathroom floor. Damn. So in his mind, he shut the bedroom door. And then the next thing he remembers is just waking up in the ambulance because he overdosed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. So, deja vu.
So yeah, I know this song. I actually used to make it like my away message on AIM or like what year was this?
The album came out in 2009.
Was AIM
It's
still
probably
in
Facebook.
or like iChat
Yeah.
away message or like Facebook status? What something like that. Yeah, but yeah, I relate to a lot of it. A ton of it. I've been sober for so long, but I still remember all of this like it was yesterday.
Oh yeah, it's unmistakable
Mm.
and I mean, he's been sober twice as long as we have, you know what I mean? But I'm sure
14 years?
yeah,
Wow.
but I'm sure he if he hears something like this or if it's his own music, it
Yeah.
takes him back there too. It's like unmistakable, but
Mm.
it's done brilliantly, in my
Yeah.
opinion. He's able to convey that. Again, like I wonder if I wasn't an addict, if I would just be like, oh yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to appreciate it as much, but he captures.
Appreciate the song, I think.
So they like it, and I'm sure, but I really do feel like as an addict, you have like a greater connection to it because
Yeah, I would say so.
it's a
There's
difference.
something you can't understand.
Yeah, it's like the difference between empathizing with somebody and actually
Sympathizing.
having been through the experience that they
Yeah.
went through. You know what I
So
mean?
you can sympathize, like we can empathize.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's crazy.
So and then empathize away.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. But yeah, I love this song. It's one of my favorites on the album. And it's oddly, it matches the tone of the album, even though it's mostly serial killer, dark shit.
It's pretty dark.
Because,
This is very dark.
so it is, but in a different way. It's not like horror movie dark. It's like,
No, it's like
Mhm.
frightening,
So, but
sad.
he carries the theme though throughout the album that the drugs turn him into this monster. You know what I mean? So that's how it fits in. But all right, this video is fucking 40 minutes long. We gotta end it.
Okay. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye.